On a hillock overlooking miles of Cumbrian countryside rested an unobtrusive, lonely and eerie house. It was known locally as Croglin Old Hall. It had large grounds and beautiful trees that led towards a church nestling in a hollow, no more than a stone's throw away in the nearby village of Renwick. For years, the house, that's around 20 miles from Carlisle, had belonged to a local family named Fisher. But in 1873, the then owner needed to move for work, and the ancestral home would both reluctantly and sadly have to be given up. The house went up for sale, but sadly no one wanted to live in such an isolated area. Finally though, two brothers, Edward and Michael Cranswell, and their sister Amelia stepped forward, offering to take out a 7-year lease. The Fishers agreed. About a year later, one summer's night in 1875, feeling quite poorly, Amelia went up to her room. It was such a beautiful night that Amelia left open the shutters of her ground floor bedroom. Putting out her bedside lamp, she lay against the pillows, letting her eyes adjust to the soft moonlight shining through. Suddenly, she caught a glimpse of something odd. 2 pinpoints of yellowish light that appeared, then vanished, and then reappeared, almost as if someone in the distance was carrying 2 tiny lanterns through the woods. As she continued to watch, they moved closer. Amelia could see now that they were eyes. What type of animal was she looking at? She couldn't make it out. Making sure that the window was shut fast and the door locked, she went back to bed to try and sleep. Some moments later, she heard a rustling sound and looked up to see the eyes staring at her through the glass of the window. Around the eyes, the poor girl glimpsed a shriveled brown face. Then she heard the horrid sound of nails scratching at the window pane. For seconds, that seemed like an eternity, Amelia stood frozen, speechless, as if in the throes of some hideous nightmare. She tried to scream, but no sound came, only the sound of the deliberate scratching of something trying to get in at her. Pulling herself out of this trance-like gaze, she flung herself against the door, knocking the key from its lock, sending it falling into the darkness, and as the key hit the floor, a ringing sound seemed to snap her into awareness. She screamed. Then another sound made her blood run cold. The creature was pulling the lead strips which held window panes in place. A pane rattled, then fell out. A bony arm came through the broken pane and began to open the window. Her eyes fixed with horror, and watched the slow and deliberate movements of the creature advancing towards her. Its burning fiery eyes were mere feet away. Amelia's frail body slid down the door in a last-ditch attempt to escape. The tall, black form of the creature now loomed over her. Its long skeletal fingers groped for her throat. She blacked out. Her brothers, hearing her scream, forced the door open with a poker and rushed inside to see Amelia collapsed on the floor with blood oozing from the bites in her neck. Michael looked after his sister, while Edward rushed to the window and could just make out a strange figure vanishing through the arch in the farmyard wall. The doctor was called, and he gave Amelia a sleeping draught. He advised that she should take a long holiday to get over the shock. As for the intruder, well, he could only think it was a madman or a monkey escaped from a travelling show. Switzerland was a restful and beautiful country, offering the ideal solace that Amelia needed, and, before long, she found herself recovering under the range of the Swiss Alps. It was a wise choice, for she loved to spend long hours sitting and sketching picturesque vistas, while her brothers skied and fished for trout in the sparkling alpine lakes. In all, life was pleasant, but she now grew impatient and homesick for England, longing to return. This time, however, Amelia kept her shutters closed, and Edward slept with a gun beside his bed. For, unknown to Amelia, while she was away, there had been other reports in the area of girls being attacked by strange bony creatures, and a wave of sheep killings had also begun. Edward had heard the tales, and his worry grew. Autumn and winter both passed without incident, but on a night in March in 1876, Amelia was once again woken by the sounds of deliberate scratching coming from her bedroom windows. Those glaring eyes again looked deep into her soul. Amelia screamed as loud as she could, and her brothers leapt from their beds. Edward ran to the yard, and in the moonlight caught sight of a tall, cloaked, shadowy shape. As the beast fled towards Croglin Road, Edward fired his pistol, and it staggered and gave a howl before stumbling over the frosted fields towards the churchyard. His adversary was limping badly, and was heading for the high wall that surrounded the old churchyard. Not believing his eyes, he watched as the beast scaled the wall with ease and climbed over the top. At seeing this, Edward now ran around to the churchyard gates, only to witness the now stumbling silhouette disappear down and out of sight into one of the larger vaults. He then returned home to his brother, but the next day at dawn, the brothers gathered together with the gamekeeper and some men from the village and went to the mystery graveyard. At first, nothing looked wrong. Then they saw that the mossy top of the Fisher family vault had been moved and lay partly open and out of place. Inside the tomb was a terrible mess, except for one stone coffin. The villagers drew back as the brothers tore off the lid, and inside lay a hideous mummified figure. Features could still be seen on the wrinkled skin, now walnut-coloured through age. In the thin yellowed skin of one leg was a fresh shotgun wound. A villager came forward and said he'd seen the same creature of the night attacking and killing livestock. He told them the only way to destroy it was with fire. The shocked villagers all agreed that this hideous corpse should be burnt immediately. Sped on by terror, the men hurried away to find wood, and in the far corner of the graveyard, they built a huge bonfire. With trembling hands, they lifted the skeletal creature from the coffin, and with a great need to be rid of this horrible beast, they stumbled across the ground and cast it into the fire. As the sun rose, the beast howled and crumpled into ashes in the flames. And since that day, the terror that stalked Croglin Old Hall has never been seen again. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this little legend. Take care of yourselves and stay safe out there. I'll speak to you soon. Bye.